How would you like a health process where there is no way to lose? Sounds pretty ideal, and we can find it in the space between the scales. If you're on a weight loss path, especially on the health journey, you say, I don't know, maybe I find it on the scale. I find a place I cannot lose on the scale. That would be the plateau, okay? If we're twisting the words, we say, no, we are going to find success. Cannot lose. Step off the scale. And we're going to step in between two other scales with the help of some passages from this beautiful book. I'm trying to squeeze as much thinking out of the end of these last couple pages as we can. The Mountain is You. I have found personally tremendous benefit from walking through it. I hope you have too. This is a section right here, creating aligned goals, and we're going to see two scales. Try to step between them. Here we are right at the end. They say one of the most important parts of discovering your inner peace. Remember what we did yesterday. Searching for that inner peace. Seeing it like the calm lake where all the ripples have dissipated. One of the most important parts of discovering your inner peace is that you trade in your desire for happiness. Whoa, I read that last night. I was like, I don't know. Even after the talks, we've done talks, right, about happiness. Aren't there things that are beyond happiness we want, like contentment? We've done a couple sessions like that. Still hard to read. Who doesn't want to be happy? No problem with happiness, not a bad thing. But then we're going to go deeper on it. I wrote a note on the side of this here. Is happiness freedom from wanting? That is a note from me that I was considering. You think about something. Have you had this experience? You are wanting something, then you get it. Aren't we happy for a bit? Isn't that freeing us from wanting momentarily? But then what is the thing that brings us deeper satisfaction? Very interesting to think on a health journey, whether we're using a fasting process, whether we are trying to exercise our way there, whether we're on a special diet, hopefully low carb, low processed food. That is the best path, I say. Whether we're trying to incorporate all of these things into a beautiful combination that is serving us in whatever fashion it is. Wouldn't we be happy to accomplish our goal? I certainly be happy for you when you accomplish it. I want you to do it. They say here, unfortunately, happiness is fickle. Can lead you to being attached to certain achievements. Something really we should think about in our health space. We do not want to set up an environment for ourselves where we say, oh, I'll be happy when, right? I'll be happy when I step on the scale and I hit this number, right? That's why we're trying to find space between the scales, not on the scale, right? That moment we accomplish a goal, 1 point on a curve, right? And then we just keep compounding, keep going. We don't want to be attached to certain achievements, belongings, or circumstances. Lead us to become dependent on other people's opinions or life unfolding in a certain way, a particular way. One thought that's coming to me, like, what are the things that would truly make us happy, really? And they say, even is happiness the goal? Say, when our goal is happiness, you will always find just behind it a lingering sense of unhappiness. Is that true? I was reading that and I was saying, is that true? They say this is how balance and duality works. It's like, well, I think it certainly can work that way. I don't know. Is it always that way? Something for us to think about. If our goal is happiness, will we always find unhappiness? Is that the way the world works? Certainly it can be the state when we are trying to buy our way to happiness and consuming our way to happiness. Many times it is that way. I think many people would feel that way. And so at least maybe you can find the exception. Throw it in the comments if you are aware of the exception to this statement. But what they say, they go on, inner peace, however, that is the state in between the scales. When that's your goal, there is no way to lose. And that I really like. That's why I used it in the title, the space. I say the space between the scales, because we are trying to sit in a space, right? Fasting space. Fasting space, to me, stepping out of the rush, stepping out of the drive of culture for constant consumption. This passage today helping me see, step out of the drive even for happiness, that happiness can be part of a thing even that drives a craving for something. It's something that is looking externally, right, for a feeling, something when what is more valuable, maybe we saw that yesterday, maybe we're seeing it today, inner peace. I wrote another note down here when they say inner peace as we're thinking about it. Is it freedom from even wanting happiness? It's like if we want happiness, if that is always our goal, we're always seeking something. It just implies that we lack it. You know what I mean? If we're always having to work for it, always something else. That's like, I'll be happy when. It's like the next thing becomes a treadmill. Do you ever feel like that? Like, when do we arrive ever, you know? If it's always the next thing, always a goal, always a something, it's like, do we ever arrive? It's like, that's, I think, a big part of living in the present, isn't it? It's like a classic thought, right? Oh, live in the present, right? And we've done that. We say, get away from regrets. Don't live in the past. Come to peace. Integrate the past. Let go of even the future. Means setting aside anxiety, concern, centering ourselves, being grounded. It's interesting to think that happiness or chasing happiness, looking toward happiness, it usually is, or many times can be, forward thinking, in the future. I'll be happy when. Taking us out of the present moment. Maybe there is happiness. Can we find happiness just in the moment? Or is finding happiness in the moment actual contentment? Is it being here now to say, I don't want anything else? I'm just thinking of a moment, sitting on a bench watching my kids playing on the playground. It's like if someone said to me, that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, when is a happy moment? Do you have moments of happiness where you say, I'm also totally present and happy? That's what came to me, just watching my kids having fun playing on the playground, right? I say that's just such a moment of happiness. Is that a moment of inner peace? It's certainly to me a feeling of grounded, like I'm just totally happy to be present here now. Like, definitely things are right with the world, you know. No way to lose in a space like that anyway. These are the types of spaces, grounded, present, content. Don't we want to flow through life in that sort of space? We were saying yesterday in the thinking from the passage, we want to find a place of deep knowing within ourselves that everything is okay, and be living from that sort of place. That place of acceptance is actually powerful. Like they said, the invincible summer. And from a place of strength like that inside of ourselves, isn't that a place where we can take courageous and strong action forward in health? It feels that way to me. They say here, this is difficult for most people, and often people will continue to create stress, problems, drama for themselves, because the ego is still very much attached to thinking that they need something external to make them feel good. Yeah, this is the sort of space we were getting into, right? When happiness is always internal, happiness is always external, then we can be on a path like that. If happiness is something that is internal, if we don't need to purchase or consume anything, that can be a state of contentment. Isn't that almost the definition of contentment? That we don't need anything else. To me, a fasting practice has been a practice of contentment. And I think that's a really nice way to think about it. Do you feel content in life? I ask myself in these things. Do I feel content in life? Do I feel on a treadmill, right? Is it always external, always external? To me, now that I use fasting, exercise, healthy eating, I've gotten my weight in a place I am happy with it after, blowing it out in my medical training. Took years of super exercising before I found the combination of fasting. Helps so much, right? Now when I am personally practicing fasting, I have it as a space like this. Like, do I feel like disconnect a little bit? Like, just find some peace and space inside. Now I would tell people that's more valuable. It would be more valuable to me even to have that now, even if I had more weight to lose. I would say I would rather start from that place. And this is why I say fasting is such a wellness practice in and of itself, apart from any kind of weight loss success, which of course it can bring and it can help with. But even if we set that aside, what if it just helped us on a journey to somewhere deeper, finding an emotional space of peace and contentment apart from any other goal? Because if we are trying to find happiness, then we say, oh, that is in the future. We struggle for it. But if we can find contentment now, right in this moment, we realize everything is okay. Then we have contentment. All of a sudden, look at that. We're grounded. We're present. We don't need anything else. And then think about what that is doing in the bigger picture then. If we can have a space like that where we're finding contentment, do you see that that is a type of space where we can find a flow state? Flow state, to me, the very opposite of struggle. And if we are on a health path, we're trying to lose some amount of weight, of course, struggle is huge part of the experience that people are having, a huge obstacle and a barrier. And so a big part of what we try to do in these sessions, what we're trying to do in the big picture, say, how do we navigate the path in a way that minimizes the struggle, maximizes the flow, both the actual flow state mentally, so that we can pass the time. Look, even if it's just a fasting state that we're trying to navigate, how do we flow through that in a way that feels pleasant, where maybe we don't even think about it? Have you experienced that type of mental state? Maybe it's at work, maybe it's on a creative project, maybe it's just doing things around the house, that you just get into a flow and things are just happening, but we're not so aware of time, and all of a sudden it's like, man, we just did all this work and this happened. And Not like, look, all of a sudden, like, whoa, okay. How about making it through fasting space like that, where it's like, and I think that fasting actually, to me, the times when I get in the biggest, deepest, longest sort of flow state is like fasting space helps me to get into that. That was my yesterday. I felt so much at peace after doing the session yesterday. It's like I just keep that going, fasting space. Got so much done. Man, did that feel good. Looking externally for something that makes us feel good. They say the quintessential sign of someone who has not yet found an inner peace. They are searching, often frantically, for a sense of satisfaction, belongingness, or worthiness outside of themselves. So really, it's not that happiness isn't a virtuous thing to which we should aspire. Oh, good. I forgot they said that. Yeah. Or that happiness isn't something you're ever allowed to feel. Thank goodness. Yes, the reality is that inner peace is the true happiness. Oh, I love that. The reality is that inner peace is the true happiness. Everything else is just a false means of trying to convince yourself that you are okay. I think this is a really beautiful thought. Especially paired with yesterday. Go watch yesterday if you didn't see that. The whole thought yesterday was that we're trying to find a space within ourselves, a deep knowing where we know that everything is okay. False happiness, I would say what society is trying to sell to us, a false happiness, meaning that we are going to find true happiness through the purchasing of external things. And this is saying true happiness actually inside of us, and it's actually a peace and knowing that things are okay. I would just add to it and say gratitude. To me, gratitude for the present moment and just knowing, okay, things are okay, having gratitude for it. That's what I'm thinking with the story I was telling earlier. You know, when I think of true moments of happiness, sitting and just watching my kids playing, right? Then I'm just, you know, it's just such a space of gratitude, of love, of thankfulness. It's like not wanting anything else, like say, this is enough here, you know? Inner peace, finding contentment, this is enough. These are the types of ideas that to me, we are like the muscle of fasting. When we are practicing fasting, we are like building that kind of strength in our mind. The muscle that things are okay, the muscle that I am enough and this is enough. The muscle that we have strength and power inside of here. Don't need anything else. Do you tell yourself those thoughts? Could you tell yourself those thoughts as you're going through a fasting space? Of course, tell them to yourself anytime that you are encountering difficulty in your life, and can they be sources of strength? So many times in life, though, many things that are difficulty, we pass through them to reach some better place, some higher place. That's the obstacle that becomes the way. The barrier that becomes the stepping stone. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. Build that strength. They say, think about it this way. What do you typically imagine will bring you happiness? Money, a relationship, a promotion? And what happens when you achieve these things? So you usually feel good for a little bit, and then it settles back, right? Isn't that the thing with anything that is external? It's like we look toward it. We say, oh, I would like some more money, and then we get it. And then it's like, oh, it's like not permanent, you know? They write, consistently throughout all of history, the answer is the same. People return to their baseline. Right? This is because this kind of happiness is not real. We could at least say it's not permanent, right? It's like this is what keeps us in a cycle of consumption and needing, forward thinking instead of finding contentment. It is only being completely at peace with whenever you are in any given day that you will find a genuine sense of wonder, presence, and joy. And I love leaving it at that for this reading. Finding a sense of joy, I just love, because we're sitting here in this interesting space talking about finding happiness and what is true happiness and what is this interface between an external and an internal. How do we find peace in a space? And what does peace mean? And is peace just a deeper kind of happiness and contentment that isn't some fleeting thing that we have to keep buying? And if we find a space like that, are you experiencing that in your life? I hope so. To me, it's like an aspiration, something I say, oh, I really want to do that. I would say that the closest I get to that space is, a fasting space combined with a meditation space. It's like removing every distraction out of the space, bringing in some breathing, try to bring calmness into the body, and then as part of that process, thinking some of these thoughts that we are practicing, seeing the energy and the strength in the body, recognizing we are in this cultural moment that is completely focused on doing and does not respect or value being. And that we can step out of that, even if it's for a few moments in the day, and to step out of it and say, no, there is value here, and I have gratitude for my life and my presence just in this moment, and this is enough to be here. Find gratitude for the body. Find contentment and realize, hey, fasting space is happening. Body is running. So just gratitude for it, and then gratitude, so much gratitude that the fasting space can end whenever we want. There's no shortage of food. We are living in this incredible space. And from that, like all those are thoughts. Remember what we said yesterday, all the thoughts like throwing stones in the pond and we see all the ripples. But to me, thinking all those thoughts, the gratitude, it's like settling out all the other thoughts, like you need to do this, and this person said that, and isn't it frustrating that this happened? And it's like, okay, we're gonna take the space, find the gratitude, and that to me is a process that helps me, like let the ripples on the lake settle out, and then take some moments just to be and actually experience just being in that space. And then don't even need the thoughts. Very difficult, space. Take some practice of the mind in order to have that happen. And I would say of the times I try to do that, I wish I could tell you could do that every day. And I don't, but I wish I did. It's a goal to do it. And I am going to do it today, even though I have like a list of so many things to do. I'm going to take some space like that, because every time I do that, and sometimes, maybe every other time, get into a bit of a flow state, even in that. And I always feel so much better, and I always get more done when I actually do it, when I don't jump straight to the list. And I give the mind some space to really center, find some flow. I am always more productive. And so it is so hard to think of that, because it's like I look at the list, I've got it right over there, and there's some things I don't even want to do on it, but we got to get it done. And it's like, don't you want to dive in? I probably take the space up front, otherwise you get going and you won't do it. But then, like I've described in the past, if you've been with me on the channel, it's like you sit down to try to get into a space like that, for me, it takes 10 minutes just to let the ripples die down. And isn't that about what it takes? If you're on a still lake and you were skipping rocks or something, and then you stopped, it's like, doesn't it take about 10 minutes for all the waves, and then they bounce back and they got to do a couple trips? Doesn't it take a little while? 10 minutes. And then things can really settle down. I would say I have really encountered some joy. That's where I was going with this. I have had some joy in a space like that, actually. And that is surprising to find, where it's like you go through a struggle, where it's like you feel anxious, you got the list of the things, all the thoughts, you feel like, I need to move. Shouldn't I at least take a walk, which is so good? And it's like, no, I'm really going to give a gift. It is a gift to the mind to give some real space like that. And then finding some joy, and you say, where did that joy come from? Is it because in that space that is the process that it actually takes to really drill down, find a deep space, and recognize, no, there is peace, there is joy here within ourselves. I want you to experience that. Joy and peace coming from within, an incredible space. And to me, I think this is the pinnacle sort of idea of a fasting space, is that we are opening up space free from distractions. We're in distraction society. Very hard to find spaces really free from distraction. So much food, so much marketing, so much scrolling, so many other things, so many opinions and ideas and thoughts. We're just bombarded by thoughts, ideas. And it's like, really, the mind needs some space. To me, it's fascinating that joy can be found in a space like that. Just the idea that it even could is amazing. And, a big thing that I want to help people do in fasting space, find joy in fasting. This is so countercultural, right? This is countercultural. So people look at fasting, they say, oh, deprivation and struggle. And, listen, if you just come to fasting without any knowledge of it, and you say, oh, I'm just going to stop eating, but then you're just hanging out in the kitchen looking at the fridge, and it's just yeah, it could be really difficult. And if you look at language that people use around diets, or even in a fasting space, they talk about white knuckling things and hanging on. And I would say, there can be spaces where I'm not even opposed to that. A human being is strong and powerful. We can find strength in ourselves, and we can, do things that are difficult. And there is difficulty in a fasting space. There can be. But the way that is much better to approach it, to me, is to get in a mindset like this, which is extremely thoughtful, extremely calm and centered, and as much as possible to find a state of flow with it, where we're bringing down the stress level to such a level that it's so many times we have this baseline level of stress and pressure, that is built up, and is we take a fasting practice and we're thinking of adding it on top of things, where it's oh, I've got to do this other thing that is intense. But to me, look at what fasting is, and it's showing us a mirror for so many things in life. Fasting is a subtraction, Fasting is about less to do, more space. And to me, when we just really look at the ethos of it, I think we're missing it in the big picture, even of fasting. It's societally, fasting is basically nowhere, Basically, it's you can get on a little niche on video channels, and you see, okay, there's people who are in it, but a few 100,000 people out of 8 billion is well, when we get out of our Western culture, there's a lot more people practicing fasting around the world than, even here. We get in a little bubble. People, many cultures, spiritual traditions, all kinds of people practicing fasting, but not so much in our Western culture. But even the places within our culture where people catching on to it, it's another thing to do. And I hope what this session is really showing us it's a subtraction, okay? It's less to do, and therefore the mindset should be really open, never forced, never pressure. It's like anti-pressure. Do you see what I'm saying? There we go. It's the sort of thing telling us, take a deep breath, Take the pressure off. The way I want people practicing fasting is like, thank goodness, there's less to do. The pressure is turning down. More open space in the body. Stepping out of the cycle, right? Finding peace in the space. If you're not finding that, never force it. This is what I want to say. Never force it. Here's the line where it is. Like if you're in a space, you're feeling is fasting, is feeling overwhelming. Okay, stop. That is like a red line. It's like we got a lot of wellness practices going on a health journey. It's like we say maybe fasting is the starting point, and we open up the amount of space where it feels good and the flow is happening. And it's like people look at videos online and they say fasting is 16:8 or it's 18:6 or it's OMAD or it's ADF or it's whatever. It's like, no. It's like this is just a whole spectrum, And we can all be at different places. And it's a concept. It just means like, well, I'm going to give my body some space without food. See if the energy is actually flowing more. One of the most incredible things to experience in a fasting space is that the energy can actually be increased. Here's where we get real synergy, right? We're bringing stress down and energy increasing. Like we're giving space, unlock the energy in the body. Beautiful experience to have. And if we find an edge where we say, oh, I don't think this is going so well anymore. I don't think I want this to continue. It's like, look, we got our next practice. Healthy eating, right? So keep all the processed foods out. Fasting space is over now. Let's give the best nourishment to the body possible and just keep the good situation going, It's like all these things flowing together. Fasting space to unlock energy, unlock peace in the body, and unlock joy. That's what we want. And healthy eating, just bring health and nourishment into the body so that we have more energy to move our body. Just what an incredible gift and an opportunity. Wrap it all up in these, to me, beautiful mindfulness practices. These two are the mirror, fasting and meditation, to me, because we are mind and body. And it's like we have fasting in the body and we have fasting in the mind. It's like we fast from food and we fast from the distractions. And those two things put us in the space between the scales, the peace and contentment scales, what they're saying, and the happiness scale. And maybe it's the internal scale of it and the external scale of it. And maybe that is the space between that they're really trying to help us get into. Get into that space. We make the peace and contentment our goal. They say in the book we can't lose. I would agree. I say can't lose because no matter what is happening externally, we build a practice of finding that space of peace that's going to help us maximize contentment, joy, happiness, even in the midst of the difficulties of life that we face. Let me know your thoughts and reflections on it if you are here live with me. If you are here on the replay, whenever you're here, really nice to share this space and this time with you. Appreciate you very much. Take some good time in this day. Think about these thoughts. In the fasting space, to me, this is the most important. When we put our importance on other aspects, some people, fasting space, really dialed in, put, the importance on the time. And, time is important. How long am I fasting, right? It's like we open up a certain amount of time and that's going to have a certain effect on the body. And so it's not that that's important, but people get very, very dialed in on it in a way that could be a distraction from finding this sort of thing. Actually, peace and enjoyment with it. And that would be a sort of thing that I could see threatening people's sustainability with it, To me, fasting should be flexible, and here's another line that I want people to walk, the line between the benefits of schedule and routine and the benefits of flexibility, because both are real, and there's definitely a tension to it. Huge benefits in routine, no doubt, keeps all the hormonal structures in the body aligned, helps us reduce our decision fatigue. If we are in a routine, we've already decided ahead of time what is going to be happening, less to think about, can help us with our flow through all the decisions. That's true. But, it's true, but there are seasons to things, and there are definitely seasons to fasting, and there are seasons to our life and even our exercise. Certainly the seasons to exercise. We talked about summer. People classically get so much more active in summer, kind of tapers down. Winter is harder, and then people kind of get a big push, try to fight back at New Year's, and then it ramps up into the spring and summer. And so, there are seasonalities to these things, and something as incredible as our activity level, determining huge amounts of the energy and hormones in our body. Certainly, our appetite and our food is in a total communication with that. And so you start to see the flow through the seasons and these sort of things. You realize, okay, and think about the broader culture, about 3 meals a day for everybody all the time, never changing. And it's like, whoa. And then when you start to get into the fasting space, and you start to realize how dynamic the metabolism is, and that these things can change, and that, all the variables, and you start to see, well, what happens? We go 3 to 2, obviously can make an impact, and 2 to 1 is here. And actually, you mean a human being can actually fast, and we can go all the way from 3 to 0, and then, yeah, it's like, so to me, these are like gears on the car. Like, we can shift in and out of these things, and there's great benefit actually in the shifting, I think. Just kind of give the body some opportunity to test out some different gears. We go full throttle for a while, and then we bring it back. Most things in life, are cyclical, right? Nature is full of cycles, and people tend to think linearly, I think in the fasting space, people can definitely think linearly. Say like, oh, I learned how to do a 16/8, then I tightened it up here, and now I do OMAD, and people think that they're on a line, and always we have to tighten the screw. I talk to so many people who feel that way, and it's like, oh, now I learned how to do fasting. Now I'm fasting a day every week. It can be a beautiful practice. Nothing wrong with it, as long as there is no pressure, right? Do you see? Don't have to have a pressure. Always things can go like this. And in a season, maybe it goes like this when you're open to it, but just like breathing. Do you know what I mean? Fasting, definitely like breathing, in and out, can flow, right? The breath is flowing through the body. Fasting can flow through our life, like breath flows through the body. And so this is a balance that I want us to have. Get in a discipline if it serves you. Have a routine if it is serving you well. And recognize the beautiful openness of the practice, and that we can bring it into our experience whenever it serves us. No rules for weight loss. Loved that session I did. Go back and check that out. No rules, only things that serve us and things that don't. So I hope these are helpful thoughts. Thank you for being here. Look forward to connecting with you again soon.